fight, we died in hell!
TJ Peeler caps the first drive of the season with this 5-yard run to make it 7-0. The broad run defense smothered Fauquier on the next series, forcing a punt. The punt is blocked, and A.J. Schmetzer runs it into the end zone to make it 14-0. Special teams would score again as Adrian Fleming returns this punt 51 yards to make it 20-0. Defense steps up again as Ray DiArgenio makes the interception for broad run. David Weaver then connects with Joey Quigg from 20 yards out to make it 27-0 at the end of the first quarter. TJ Peeler, who gained 104 yards on 10 carries, gets his second TD of the game in the second period on this 47-yard run. Connor Jessup then concludes the broad run scoring with this 44-yard rollout run for a touchdown. Fauquier would add a touchdown in the final quarter to make the final score 40-6.
This is where we hold them! This is where we fight!
Broad Run found itself trailing for the first time all season when Heritage took a 7-0 lead on this long pass from Austin Nelson to Scott Pratt. Broad Run then found itself trailing by 2 touchdowns for the first time all season as Pratt catches a halfback option pass from David McCarthy to make it 14-0. Joe Walter scores on a fullback dive to cut the margin to 14-7 at the end of the first quarter. TJ Peeler, who had 236 yards in the game, then ties things with this 22-yard scoring run. Peeler puts the Spartans up for good with this 6-yard run, and the Broad Run faithful start to breathe just a little easier. Special teams ended the scoring when this high snap resulted in a safety to make the final score 23-14.
No retreat, no surrender. That is Spartan law.
TJ Peeler gets his 5th touchdown of the young season, going 49 yards to make it 6-0. Broad Run then stops this promising Jefferson drive when David Weaver comes up with the interception. Another Jefferson turnover would result in Broad Run recovering in excellent field position. Darrell Thomas then scores from a yard out to make it 14-0. Moments later, Jefferson fumbles again, giving Broad Run the ball at the Jefferson 21. Connor Jessup at first carries down to the 9-yard line. Then Jessup throws the first touchdown pass of his varsity career to Adrian Fleming to make it 20-0. Jessup keeps throwing as this pass to Caleb Lindsey moves the ball deep into Jefferson territory. Jessup then throws touchdown pass number 2 to Fleming from 17 yards out to make it 26-0. Any hope of a Jefferson comeback was dashed when Joey Quigg takes the opening kickoff of the second half and then returns it 80 yards for the touchdown that made it 33-0. Peeler then leads another Broad Run drive, this time taking it down to the Jefferson 11. Peeler finishes what he started, scoring from 11 yards out to make it 40-0. Jefferson would score a late touchdown, but the 40-7 win upped the Broad Run record to 3-0 on the young season. Next week, they'll face Wilson at home.
And by Spartan law, we will stand and fight.
TJ Peeler gets Broad Run going on the very first play, getting the ball down to the Wilson 42. Peeler then takes it the rest of the way with this nice cutback taking it back to the middle and the rest of the way for this touchdown that made it 7-0. Probably the best catch you'll see all year takes place here as Adrian Fleming makes a one-handed stab of a Connor Jessup pass. Jessup would end the drive with this 10-yard scoring pass to Michael Price to make it 15-0. Peeler gets his second touchdown of the game when he sweeps off the right end from 12 yards out to make it 21-0. David Weaver then finds a hole in the defense, turns, and breaks away on a 40-yard scoring pass to make it 27-0. Adrian Fleming completes the first half scoring by intercepting this pass and returning it 35 yards for the score that makes it 34-0. Mitch Nicholas then gets the final points of the night early in the third period on a 6-yard run to make it 41-0. The win ups the Broad Run record now to 4-0. They start their Dulles District schedule next week against Parkview.
Spartans, the finest soldiers the world has ever known.
With star runner TJ Peeler on the bench with an equipment problem for a play, Joey Quigg takes the pitch and scores from 11 yards out to give Broad Run a quick 7-0 lead. Only a minute later, the Spartans' defense gets into the act as Josh Napier pounces on a loose ball in the Parkview end zone to make it 14-0 only 5 minutes into the game. It would become 20-0 as Connor Jessup threw his first of 3 touchdown passes to Adrian Fleming, this one from 30 yards out at the close of the first period. Parkview answered behind the strong play of Brandon Lee as he hits J.R. Shook on a short pass, and Shook takes it the final 17 yards for a touchdown to make it 20-7. But Broad Run would open its big play arsenal to put the game away. David Weaver takes the pitch and breaks not 1, not 2, but 3 tackles, then heads down the sidelines for a 39-yard touchdown play. Moments later, Connor Jessup throws the fade here to Adrian Fleming. He makes a nice lunging catch to make it 33-7 Broad Run. With time running out in the first half, Jessup throws the short bubble screen to Fleming, who goes right up the middle on a 20-yard scoring play to make it 39-7 at halftime. On the first possession of the second half, TJ Peeler takes the handoff. He goes 54 yards to make it 46-7 and send all of the Spartan starters to the bench. Parkview keeps fighting as Lee rolls around right end, and he goes in from 6 yards out for the Patriot touchdown. Lee then finds his tight end, Jordan Owens, open from 14 yards out for another Parkview touchdown to close the gap to 46-22. But Broad Run proved too strong in this Dulles District matchup as Mitch Nicholas gets an opportunity to score on a 6-yard run to cap the scoring. The win moves Broad Run to 5-0, 1-0 in the Dulles District. It's their 25th consecutive regular season victory.
This is madness! Madness. This is Sparta!
Broad Run and Briarwoods were scoreless until Tyler Johnson went off tackle for 3 yards and a touchdown to give the Spartans a 7-0 lead with 3 minutes left in the first half. Midway through the third period, TJ Peeler sweeps around the left side and is knocked out of bounds just short of the goal line. On the very next play, however, Peeler, who went over 1,000 yards for the season with 236 yards rushing, gets the touchdown to make it 14-0 Broad Run. Briarwoods would battle back as Stephen Fields cuts the margin to 1 score with this 6-yard run to make it 14-6. After the ensuing kickoff, Adrian Fleming takes this pitch and goes 40 yards to put Broad Run in excellent scoring position. But the drive would stall as a stingy Briarwoods defense came up with an interception. Broad Run would get the ball back and go up 21-6 on this short run by Justin Nelson in the fourth quarter. Later in the game, it looked like Briarwoods had stopped the Broad Run offense, but the Spartans pull off the fake punt and get a first down at the Falcons' 45. 2 plays later, Peeler would convert the opportunity with this 36-yard run to make it 27-6. In the final minute, Michael Brownlee, who gained 174 yards on 25 carries, catches this short pass and goes 52 yards for the touchdown that made it 27-12. Briarwoods would try the onside kick, but Broad Run is able to recover the ball. From there, the Spartans ran out the clock to take their 6th win of the season, good for first place in the Dulles District, and their 26th consecutive regular season win.
We will stand and fight. A new age has begun.
Broad Run scored on its first possession as Connor Jessup tosses a 6-yard touchdown pass to Michael Price to give Broad Run a 7-0 lead. Broad Run's strategy was to pound the ball inside with either T.J. Peeler, who goes right up the middle, or with chains of pace backs, such as Dewan Jackson, who moved the ball deeper into Dominion territory. Dominion's hopes took a blow on this play as quarterback Trey Baxter is injured and did not play the rest of the game. Early in the second period, T.J. Peeler breaks off right tackle on his way to a 31-yard scoring run to make it 14-0. DeAndre Reeves found the running room tough, but this carry gets Dominion into field goal range. Charles Doncourt converts the opportunity, hitting the 47-yard attempt to make it 14-3 at halftime. In the third quarter, this run by T.J. Peeler gets Broad Run inside the Dominion 30. A few plays later, Connor Jessup finds David Weaver from 18 yards out to make it 20-3 Broad Run. In the fourth quarter, T.J. Peeler, who would finish with 181 yards on the night, breaks off another big run to move Broad Run deep into Dominion territory. Justin Nelson then finished the 95-yard drive with this 16-yard scoring run to make it 27-3. DeAndre Reeves, who gained 80 yards on 33 carries, finally gets the Titans into the end zone with this 1-yard run in the fourth quarter to make it 27-9. The defense would set up the final score as Broad Run defensive end Caleb Lindsey recovers the Dominion fumble, and he returns it down to the Titan 10. That results in this 1-yard touchdown run by Mitch Nicholas to make the final score 34-9. The win ups Broad Run's record to 7-0 and is the Spartans' 27th consecutive regular season win.
This is where we hold them. This is where we fight.
Broad Run gets on the board quickly as T.J. Peeler breaks through a crease-off left tackle for 40 yards and a touchdown to make it 7-0 Broad Run. On its second possession, Broad Run scores on a 25-yard run by Justin Nelson, and all of a sudden it's 14-0. A freedom fumble would set up the third Broad Run score as T.J. Peeler punches it in from a yard out to make it 21-0. On the first play of the second period, Peeler gets his third TD of the night on a 21-yard sweep to up the margin to 28-0. Another freedom fumble gave Broad Run great field position, and the Spartans convert on this 16-yard scoring pass from Connor Jessup to David Weaver. The Broad Run defense made it 42-0 when Tyler Johnson recovers this fumble in the end zone for a Spartan touchdown. Justin Nelson gets his second touchdown of the night on this 6-yard run to make it 49-0 at the half as Broad Run starters took the rest of the night off. Freedom quarterback Vernon Miles caps a third quarter drive with this 1-yard run to get the Eagles on the board. Then he catches a bounce pass from Matt Malakane for the 2-point conversion to make it 49-8. In the fourth quarter, reserve quarterback Ethan Miller breaks off a big run to get the ball deep into Freedom territory. Then Miller scores on a 6-yard run to make the final score 56-8. The win ups Broad Run's record to 8-0, 4-0 in the Dulles District, and was the Spartans' 28th consecutive regular season win.
No retreat. No surrender. That is Spartan law.
T.J. Peeler runs through the rain in the first quarter for 68 yards and the touchdown that puts Broad Run ahead 7-0. Broad run looks like it might open up a bigger lead when A.J. Schmetzer recovers a fumble on the ensuing kickoff at the Loudoun County 15. But on 4th and 4, Ryan Courtney hits T.J. Peeler in the backfield and the ball goes over on downs to the Raiders. Loudoun County puts together a lengthy drive as this 30-yard run by Kevin Fitz moves the ball to the Broad run 30. Several plays later, Austin Campbell throws this high lob up to Micah Youb, who catches it in the corner of the end zone to tie the game at 7 apiece. Then the weather gets really nasty as heavy rains and gusting winds make doing just about anything on a football field difficult. The ball was particularly hard to hold on to as Broad run fumbles on the Loudoun County 44. If you think I'm exaggerating how bad the rain is, trust me, I'm not. I stood on the sidelines throughout the storm. This was not your average downpour. After an extended halftime delay, the rain stopped, but muddy conditions forced both teams to stay on the ground. Connor Jessup takes this one himself and gets the ball inside the Loudoun County 30. T.J. Peeler then takes it inside the Raiders' 5-yard line. Peeler then scores from 2 yards out to make it 14-7. Loudoun County falls deeper in a hole when the Raiders fumble at their own 40. The backbreaker was this 4th and 3 play to Adrian Fleming, who takes it down to the Loudoun County 7. 2 plays later, Connor Jessup sneaks it in to make it 21-7. The win clinches Broad Run's 3rd straight Dulles District Championship and is the Spartans' 29th consecutive regular season win.
And by Spartan law, we will stand and fight.
Broad Run scores on its first offensive play from scrimmage as Connor Jessup throws a 60-yard TD pass to Joey Quigg to make it 7-0. Broad Run was called for excessive celebration as players chest bumped each other after the play. Connor Jessup then hits Alex Evans down the middle to get the ball inside the 20. 2 plays later, David Weaver takes the shovel pass into the end zone to make it 13-0. Note the chest bump. No flag. Broad Run goes for 2 and makes it. There are chest bump celebrations. And more flags. T.J. Peeler then gets his only carry of the game, going 60 yards for a touchdown. TJ then chest bumps a teammate in the end zone and is flagged for excessive celebration and is ejected in one of the most ridiculous calls I've ever heard of. Broad Run then comes up with this interception to stop a Potomac Falls drive. Adrian Fleming then goes to work, and you may think he's down. But he keeps on running. He gets the ball inside the 20. Fleming then scores on this 15-yard pass to make it 27-0. Zach Hobby pitches to Kyle Bolger, who makes this throw that Terrell Owens comes up with for a big game for Potomac Falls. David Weaver gets Broad Run back on the board, first catching this pass to take it down to the 15. He then takes this swing pass and goes the rest of the way for the touchdown that makes it 34-0. Weaver makes it 40-0 on special teams as he catches this punt on his own 28, then cuts to the outside and heads down the sidelines for a 72-yard return. Potomac Falls gets on the board when Zach Hobby takes the ball down to the 1. Then on the next play, Brandon Brown takes it over from the 1 to make it 40-7. Mitch Nichols concludes the scoring when he runs into the pile, then breaks to his right and down the sidelines for a 38-yard touchdown to make it 47-7. The win completes Broad Run's third straight 10-0 regular season. They will now wait to see when and who they play next in the playoffs.
Spartans, the finest soldiers the world has ever known.
As is normally the case, TJ Peeler gets the Broad Run offense going as he carries down to the Liberty 22. But he's given a breather for a play, and Justin Nelson bursts up the middle for 22 yards and a touchdown to make it 6-0 as the extra point is missed. Liberty then put together a lengthy time-consuming drive capped by this pass to Aaron Porter to give Liberty a 7-6 lead. Broad Run quickly answers as Michael Price catches a 20-yard scoring pass from Connor Jessup. But the extra point is blocked, and Broad Run only leads 12-7. Liberty then went on another lengthy drive that was capped by this 3-yard run by Wayne Fleming to make it 13-12. Jessup coolly found David Weaver on this 4th and 7 play to move the ball inside the Liberty 25. Then Jessup hit Alex Evans from 5 yards out to put Broad Run back ahead 18-13. Jessup and Weaver teamed up for the next score, first connecting for 38 yards to the Liberty 20. Then Jessup finds Weaver alone in the end zone with 0.2 of a second left in the half. The Spartans finally make a conversion as TJ Peeler carries it in to make it 26-13 at the half. Liberty storms back in the third period as Wayne Fleming eludes some sloppy tackling to go 54 yards for the score that closed the margin to 26-20. It stayed that way until the final minutes when Jessup hits Weaver for 16 yards. Then Peeler almost gets into the end zone before being ruled down at the 1. Jessup carries it in on a quarterback sneak. Then he scrambles around to find Weaver on the 2-point conversion to make it 34-20. Liberty wasn't done as James Rogers catches this 14-yard scoring pass to make it 34-27 with 39 seconds left. Liberty then tries the onside kick, but the ball doesn't go 10 yards, giving the ball to Broad Run, and the Spartans run out the clock. The win keeps Broad Run undefeated and puts them in the Region 2 Division IV championship game as the Spartans will play at home this Friday at 7 against Sharando.
We will stand and fight.
New age.
TJ Peeler got the scoring started for Broad Run, going over the top of the pile for the TD that made it 7-0. Connor Jessup then found Alex Evans over the middle for a 27-yard gain to move the ball into Sharando territory. A run up the middle by TJ Peeler gets the ball down to the 9-yard line. Then Connor Jessup finds Adrian Fleming in the right side of the end zone to make it 14-0. Broad Run went with an onside kick, and the Spartans recovered. Jessup struck immediately, completing this short pass to Fleming, who takes it down to the 9-yard line. TJ Peeler almost scores, taking it down to the 1-yard line. Then Jessup scores on a quarterback sneak to make it 21-0 with only 27 seconds left in the half. Lightning strikes to start the second half as Broad Run recovers another onside kick. Then on the next play, TJ Peeler goes left, then cuts it back for a 45-yard run that will make it 28-0. Sharando's next possession will end when Josh Napier comes up with this interception. The Spartans would convert it into even more points as Peeler goes 10 yards for his third touchdown of the game. When Sharando didn't cover Alex Evans on the conversion, Jack Sestaire threw the ball to him to make it 36-0. Reserves would finish the game for Broad Run, with the Spartans winning the Region 2 Division IV title by a score of 36-13. Broad Run will next travel to Powhatan to play for the right to be in the Group AA state championship game at Virginia Tech.
This is madness! Madness. This is Sparta!
Broad Run took to the field to soggy conditions as heavy rain mixed with snow fell throughout the afternoon. Powhatan's Sean Miner makes the game's first big play, picking up his own fumble and taking the ball inside the Broad Run 5. 2 plays later, Deion Berry scores from 2 yards out to give Powhatan a 7-0 lead. On Powhatan's next possession, Sean Miner scrambles around, but he throws the ball at the last second and it's intercepted by David Weaver. He cuts back across the grain and returns the interception 60 yards to the Powhatan 14. 4 plays later on 4th and 10, however, this pass from Connor Jessup to Caleb Lindsey comes up a yard short and the ball goes back to Powhatan. Lindsey would get the ball back as he takes advantage of a high snap and blocks this Powhatan punt. TJ Peeler then takes the ball inside the Powhatan 5. 2 plays later, he scores from a yard out to make it 7-6 at the half. In the third quarter, Jessup gets Powhatan to jump off sides on a 4th and 3 play. 4 plays later on 4th and 10, Powhatan gets flagged for unsportsmanlike conduct. Peeler then breaks off left tackle for a 20-yard touchdown to put the Spartans ahead 12-7. With 9 minutes and 18 seconds left, Broad Run would begin a crushing 16-play drive that would put the game away. TJ Peeler would carry on 14 of those 16 plays as the Spartans ate up big chunks of clock. Peeler would carry the ball 13 yards here to get the ball down to the Powhatan 16. Jessup then fakes the handoff to Peeler and takes off on a bootleg, directing traffic to his blockers as he goes in for the score that made it 20-7. The drive left only 1 minute and 15 seconds left on the clock. Powhatan ran 4 plays, then time ran out as Broad Run advances to the Group 2A Division IV state championship game and will play Amherst for the 2nd straight year.
We're in for one wild night.